Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to House of Chi Yoga. I am showing you some quick warm-ups today that you can do before any of these HIIT classes. Generally, when I come into studio, I just do quick warm-ups and mobility for all the main joints, so the shoulders, the hips. I get into the knees and the ankles. Before we begin, pardon the pillar. I'm going to use it to show you some different warm-ups, but I know it's probably kind of thrown off the visual here, but we need it today. So let's go ahead and begin. I have with me a roller and a very small weight. I think it's about 3 pounds, and a band. Now, you can do all of this work with or without any of this equipment. I begin by doing some backwards walking. So I have the band just on my ankles, and I'm just going to show you, move these things over for now. I'm just going to show you at this angle. You won't be able to see me walking very far, but normally I would be walking the length of the room. And you can see I'm just keeping the resistance on the band, and I'm walking directly backward. I'm going to show you what it looks like from behind so that you can see how I'm lifting my heel. I'm opening up my toes. I'm trying to splay my toes out and then unroll my foot. So I'm taking a very intentional step. I'm thinking about the ankle muscles. I'm thinking about warming the legs up, lifting all the way up into the hips. This whole time my core is staying nice and active as well. Okay, so I usually do that for about a minute, just making sure I'm really intentional. I'm focused on my feet, and then I'll take any kind of movement, just keeping the band on the ankle area. Now, if you don't have the band, you're just creating resistance with your own body, so you're just squeezing your muscles. So I'll usually go, let's see, forward some kicks, backward kicks, maybe some circling. You can do some karaokes. Basically, any movement with the legs, you're just trying to lubricate the hips, warm up the muscles. Okay, so that all together takes about a minute or two. Then I like to take the band off the ankle and to the foot. So if you can see here, it's going onto the actual foot. So the bottom part of the band is underneath my foot. Now from there, I can do a little lateral steps. I can sink into a squat for some lateral steps. This takes just a couple passes back and forth to really feel the lateral hip working. And then I like to lock into my abs and add a little lift here for my hip flexors, and then making sure I'm not just using my hip flexors, but lifting up into the core as well. So I'm getting a little crunch here. And then from there, I just start taking some movements, opening and closing my toes. Let me step it back a little bit. So I keep the band where it is. I open the toes, pull them back together. Open, pull them back together. When I'm ready, I'll start doing a little baby squat, just checking in with my knees and my hips. Eventually, I take it down maybe all the way into a full range of motion squat to the bottom. And I just do a couple of those to get warmed up. It's nice after that to open up the hamstrings in a little forward fold. If I have hamstring work in the HIIT class, I'll then grab onto the top of the band, lengthen the legs, engage the abdominal muscles in, make sure my lats are pulling back, and then just do a couple little baby resisted deadlifts here. So I'm not trying to push anything too much, but if I know I've got hamstrings, if I know I'm doing like actual banded, what is this called, deadlift? I need more coffee this morning, I think. I'll make sure I do some of these just to get those muscles warmed up. And then from there, I take the band off and I do any kind of movement with the band at the wrist. So I'll open and close, I'll push, pull. And again, just taking a minute or so and thinking about the range of motion, opening up the chest, activating the shoulders, starting to work into the back muscles. So you don't have to be too specific unless you know there's something you really want to warm up. Otherwise, you're just adding movement. You're just moving it around. Okay, I'm going to take the movement over to the pillar from here. I'm keeping the resistance with the band. I'm pushing my hands against the wall. Now, this pillar is really narrow. It's really small. I normally would go a lot wider with my hands, but for the sake of the video, I need the pillar. I'll just do this little narrow stance. So from here, I'm going to push my scaps together and then pull my scaps apart. And you can kind of see my arms are staying long. My spine is starting to move. My abdominal muscles are engaging. I'm waking up the back body. I'm finding the back muscles. And just a few of those just to get the scaps opening, closing. And then I'll add a couple wall push-ups. Now, again, this pillar is really small, so my push-up form here is terrible. I don't like these elbows in tight. I usually do a really wide push-up, but just something, planting through the fingertips, getting the arms all warmed up. Okay, so a lot of that stuff is very interpretive. It's just putting some resistance in the legs, moving the hips around, putting some resistance in the arms, moving the arms around. Anything that you're like, oh, that feels a little stiff, a little stuck, warm it up with some movement. These are a little bit more specific. They're for the knees, and I usually do 2 sets of 10. Actually, let's begin this way. So I'm going to use the pillar. You have a wall at home you could probably use, or you don't have to use a wall at all. I just like it because it helps me focus more. Hopefully you can see my feet in the video. And to begin, I'm going to work on pushing into the balls of the feet and the toes and lifting the heels. Now, as I do that, I'm not bouncing. I'm actively pushing up and engaging up through the legs, lifting up into the core. I usually do, like I said, 2 sets of 10, or if you're familiar with this movement, you've been doing this for a while, I'll push it to 2 sets of 20. Now, to make this more challenging, you can also bend the knees. Now you have more weight down in the balls of the feet. And you can also go singles. Now you have the most weight on the feet. So really checking in with the ankles and everything there. I'm not going to do the full sets, but hopefully at home you'll feel the 10, you'll stop. If you feel like you need more, do 10 more. If you feel like that still wasn't enough, next time do 2 sets of 20. Okay, and I alternate with this one as well. And just FYI, these are knees over toes guys exercises from Instagram. He's called Knees Over Toes. And that's where I've gotten them from. These are not my own things. Okay, my shoulders are against the wall. My feet are away from the wall. So I'm not directly up to the wall. And this one, you do need something to support your back here. So now from here, I'm going to peel my toes up. And you can see I'm not bending my knees. I'm very actively driving up the shin, very actively using the quad muscles, and then lifting up into the core. Same thing here. This is a little bit more of a particular move than the calves. The calves you can usually do a few sets at a higher number. This one is more particular. We don't often get into these front of the shin, front of the ankle muscles. So start with 10. Be intentional. Remember, no bouncing. And also the energy is not working down. We're working on lifting up towards the shin. So I'll do a set. I may go back to my calf raises and then come back for my last set here. Check in with your knees on this one. If you are hyperextending a little bit, make sure you're not pushing the knees down. Make sure the knees are comfortable. You're engaging the quad muscles to help support the knee joint. Now from there, I do the 2 sets of each. You can use the wall again for this one. I'm just going to go hands on my hips, unrolling one foot, so I'm working my left foot down. I float my right leg and extend it forward. I'll show you from the side here. Float, extend. Now as I bend, it's this planted leg that is doing the work. So I'm really making sure that foot is staying planted. I'm focused on the muscles activating as I take that little single leg squat here. This one I do 10 on one side, almost fell over, and then 10 on the other side. 6, 7, 8, 9. I haven't done mine this morning, so I might as well do them. I do 2 sets of those as well. 10, 10, 10, 10. And then I think that's it for the knees. There is more. You can look up Knees Over Toes guy. He has a lot of stuff on social media you can follow and add into your workout. Any of his stuff is amazing. Those are just some really basic ones that I try to do every time to make sure my knees are safe. Now, last couple things. If you want to add some weight or the roller, I'll take the weight, make sure my lats are locked into place. I'm working on my shoulder girdle to open and close the scaps toward the spine and the scap away from the spine. So making sure that you're feeling the coordination of the shoulder, coordinating with the back body, coordinating with the front abdominal muscles. And I usually do about 7 of those, and then I push straight up for 7. And then I just switch to the other side. I deal with a lot of, I'm doing a lot of shoulder recovery work. So I never do more than about 7. Maybe I'll push 2 sets if I know I have some heavier shoulder work coming in. But I don't overdo it on this one. I just do about 7 and then I call it good. If I really need to, I'll do 2 sets of 7. I don't know what my number is there, but I'm going to go for 1 more. Find the lat, squeeze, press for 7 overhead. Keep the abdominals in here. Okay, my shoulder feels nice and warm. The last one that I've been incorporating lately feels really great. and it's a good stabilizer exercise. So I have my forearms, my thumbs facing me, and my forearms on the roller here. Standing nice and tall, locking into the core. I'm not opening into a stretch as I roll up, but I'm staying abdominals engaged and lifting and drawing back down. So it's more of an active movement. I'm not trying to find a stretch here. I think for now I've been doing about 20 of these, and I feel really good. It helps you find your lats. And then after 20, I take a little stretch. Now you can open up the chest. If I have time, I go into 2 sets of 20 for those. Okay, that's all of the work I do for my warm-ups for my HIIT class. And then before I actually start the HIIT workout to get the heart rate up, I'll do some running back and forth. So a little bit of like sprinting. I'll start the timer. I do 40 seconds of running, 20 seconds of rest, and I do that 6 times just like we were doing a full HIIT round. My space is very small, and I'm not going to run back and forth for you. So I'm not going to show you here, but basically running, when you get to the end, you touch just as if you're doing the little liners back and forth. Another option that I've been doing actually more here, because my studio is a lot smaller, I've just been going outside and running around the block for 5-6 minutes. So your choice. Those are all the joint warm-ups we do, making sure everything feels good before you start your HIIT class. Add a little bit of cardio at the end so everything's ready and coordinated and ready to go. And that's it. Have fun with it.